Hi, beautiful friends. Laurel Bleadon-Maffei here at Illuminating Souls, and I'm coming to you at Sunday, March 8th, and it's time for coronavirus conversation, a bit of an update. My intention here is to support you in assembling the information you need to take care of you and your family. Again, one of the major caveats is that I have no medical training. Do not mistake my passion for expertise. Please, oh please, go and follow infectious disease specialists on Twitter, on Reddit. Do your research so that you can attune how you want to take care of you and your family. So here is a strategy I have been talking to friends about over the weekend. The thing about the coronavirus is it is a quiet storm in that it is thought that it has a 14-day incubation period. For some people, it's shorter. For some people, it's longer. But the key to this virus is that it can be transmitted when people are asymptomatic. So someone's walking around in their life, just living life, and they have no idea they have this virus. Meanwhile, they're shedding the virus, and people who are in close contact with them are at risk of also getting the virus. It's why this is so difficult to handle. You know, if you go into the office and your coworker has a bad cold, it's a warning sign and you can keep your distance. But with this particular virus, people are walking around not knowing they're sick. So I think of this virus as a quiet storm. And we have about a 14-day window here in the United States and perhaps in your country too, before this has the potential to mushroom in a significant way. If we're looking at um, the 14-day incubation period, this has the potential to kind of go off the charts in 2 weeks' time. The thing is you don't want to wait 14 days for this to get bad to say, maybe they're right and I should do something about it. You don't want to be in that part of the pack. I really recommend living life right now and for the next 2 weeks as if a Category 5 hurricane is going to make a direct hit on your house. Hopefully it misses your house. Hopefully it directs out to sea if I'm going on with the hurricane metaphor. But live your life right now as if the coronavirus is in your neighborhood. It is in your community. The reason I say do this for 14 days is we are going to know so much more 14 days from now. Here's an example. You may be hearing on the news that Italy is locking down the northern portion of the country called Lombardy. Forgive me if I'm getting my geography wrong here. It includes Venice and Milan. They are quarantining and locking down approximately 17 million people. They did this yesterday. I was reading a report. As of February 21st, which was a little over 14 days ago, they had only diagnosed 20 cases. So in a little over 2 weeks' time, they went from 20 cases to locking down 17 million people. And the northern portion of Italy will remain locked down until the 1st of April. So you do not want to wait until it's getting really bad and you're reading the reports that the emergency rooms and the hospitals can't take any more patients. You don't want to wait until then. Because of the long asymptomatic incubation phase of this virus, we should all be living right now as if it is in our community. The thing is we will know in 2 weeks' time what kind of foothold is going to happen here in the US. And if you're in Australia or New Zealand or the Netherlands or somewhere else, you will be finding out in about 2 weeks' time what is happening near you. So this is my recommendation. It's not fear-based. I don't want you to get panicked and anxious about this. It's just I'm in these community boards and people are saying it's not that big a deal. It's like the flu. Just chill out, everybody. They had, I forget which sports team here. I think it was the Warriors, the basketball team. I'm sorry, I don't remember which one it was. And they still went ahead and played, and they just had a note saying, if you come, you may be exposed to the coronavirus. Like, no big deal, guys. But here's what happens. So if God forbid you get exposed, and maybe you're one of the people who will have no symptoms ever, you may not even know you have it. Or maybe you get it like a mild flu, which maybe is no big deal to you. You have good health insurance, you get sick days off of work, so you stay home for 4 days and you feel better. But it has a high infection rate. So how many people will you have exposed to the virus? And if you happen to love anyone over the age of 70, anyone who is immune compromised, anyone who has lung issues like asthma or emphysema or COPD, if you love anyone who is a healthcare worker, a nurse, a doctor, a PT tech, whatever it is, it puts them at risk. And part of the thing about battling a disease like this, a virus like this, is we have to come together as a community. Because when I protect myself, I also protect anyone I come in contact with. So, light workers out there, those of you who want to make the world a better place, if you will take care of yourself and loved ones, especially over the next 14 days, and self-isolate, wash your hands, be proactive, you could potentially be saving lives and never know it. It's a really different way of thinking about things. We tend to be reactive, right? My coworker is sick. I'm going to take some action. I'm going to take my vitamin C. I'm going to take my elderberry syrup. I'm going to take good care of myself. But it's really important that we be proactive here. If you are in the United States, which I know a lot of my audience is, I'm going to take a deep breath on this one. Please, please do your own research. I cannot emphasize this enough. I do my best not to get political here, but it is profoundly disturbing to see how our national government is gaslighting people and falling down on the job. I'm sorry. There are not enough tests. We dropped the ball in getting testing out to people. I was reading an article in the New York Times that said the head of the CDC called, I think it's the National, let's see, I don't know, I think he might be National Health and Human Services, on January 3rd, that there was this unique coronavirus in China, and they had been monitoring this. I keep saying, if I knew about this at the end of January, our government knew about it, and they could have gotten things ready. Instead, they're acting like it's not a big deal. It's, for some reason, our president doesn't want people getting worried and nervous about this. There's a photo of him last night, I think at Mar-a-Lago at a dinner, surrounded by people and a couple hundred people in the room. And really, it's so terrifying, because all that has to happen is if we're in close proximity to somebody that has the virus, now we could get it and pass it on to our families. So please, please take responsibility for your well-being and those you love. If you have relatives who are older and immune compromised who are not taking this seriously, find a way to talk to them about this. Again, just ask them to give you 2 weeks. Honestly, that's what I'm trying to negotiate with people for 2 weeks. Just give me 2 weeks. If after 2 to 3 weeks this is a nothing thing, I'll make a shirt that says, I panicked and overreacted to the coronavirus and I'm sorry. Like, I'll totally take the hit on that one. I'll be happy to come out publicly and say, you guys, I was completely wrong about this. I'm sorry I panicked all of you. I had no idea what I was talking about. I'm going to go back into my hole now. But I don't think that's going to happen. I keep trying to tell people, a world superpower, China, basically has shut down their economy since the end of January. And Wuhan, a city of millions, is not expected to open until the beginning of May. Why would a world superpower do this if this was not a significant threat? Why would Italy be closing down the northern part of its country if this was not a danger? Use your intelligence here. Use your discernment. Look at what is happening around the world. And we haven't even gotten started on what happens when this virus crosses into countries that have no healthcare system, or I shouldn't say that, but have like a third world healthcare system. They now have cases in Bangladesh, and they have cases in India. It's like it's, and I know India has, there are places where it has really good health care, but there's also a lot of people who are very poor there who do not have access to the kind of health care required to help people survive this disease. So there's your bright, shiny message for a Sunday morning. And, you know, the best we can do is prepare. Let's see, what else did I want to share? I made some notes here. So buy yourself 2 weeks. If you have friends and family who are not taking this seriously, just ask them to take it seriously for the next 2 weeks. And then if you're wrong, you'll take them out for a nice dinner. But just ask them to give you 2 weeks. Just pretend for the next 2 weeks there's a zombie apocalypse and you're going to have to stay home. What are you going to do? So for myself, I am still going grocery shopping, but I'm being very careful. I have some friends I'm going to see this week, but again, I'm going to be very careful. I'm being very mindful. I'm disinfecting things. I'm monitoring self. I'm being very, very careful. And so if we treat this with respect, if we appreciate the seriousness of what is happening, I believe we'll get through this. Um, and I'm grateful for you. You know, this can be a very lonely time. I was saying to my husband, I am so grateful I am with him right now, because if I was living alone in Los Angeles and going through this, it would be very hard. And so if you're alone in this, I don't mean like completely alone in life, but if you live alone and you are responsible for you, um, partner up with a friend or a neighbor, so that you have somebody to lean into. And as far as Illuminating Souls goes, I'm going to be putting something together for us, um, a circle of sorts where we can support each other and love each other and stay in the beautiful angelic vibrations and stay uplifted. And life is going to go on, right? It's like, even though all of this is happening, life is going to go on. We're going to want to, you know, this is a great time to kind of go into your creative projects and read your books and, you know, I mean, there's we'll do what we can to repurpose this for, um, for love and for our inspired self, and we'll see what we can do. We'll talk soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye.